We heard from academic leaders from the US, Europe, Canada, and now we go to the Middle East. I would like to introduce the Dean of the College of Business and Economics, Qatar University, Dr. Khalid Shams Abdulqader. Welcome to the United Nations and ICSB. Yes.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests and delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon. Very happy to be here today and respond to the honored invitation from Dr. Ayman Tarabishi and ICSB and the UN to address and to have some brief talk about Qatar experience in entrepreneurship with some focus on the educational side. If I start by looking at any economy, we can see that it is either dominated by public or private sector. And if it is dominated by public sector, we expect that the economy is going to be in a slow move, slow growth, and less creativity. And on the other side, if it is dominated by private sector entrepreneurs, we expect that it's going to speed up its growth and be more creative. The experience of Qatar is in some sort the way around, because the public sector dominated the economy and it led the economy to a huge prosperity. And that because it was very successful in taking the economy and positioning the economy on the map of the region's economy and the world economy. Qatar was so successful in the energy sector, especially in the gas liquidation sector. Qatar is one of the leading country in production of liquefied gas and exporting liquefied gas. And the huge influx of revenues from the energy sector, Qatar has mobilized it in the economy in all aspects, to the extent that Qatar did not only made this prosperity in the economic sector, but it went through all the institutions and all aspects of life of Qatar. For example, Qatar is one of the leading economy in the Arab world. I think number 1 in the Human Development Index, and number 33 worldwide. And Qatar also is the second in the competitiveness index and number 22 worldwide. Huge development in education sector and in the social life in all aspects. And let me go back to 1997, where the stock market in Qatar started. And the reason for that was to promote more the private sector and make it more active and take much bigger role in the economy. So the government started to privatize its the most profitable enterprises and extended it to the private sector and citizens, so that they get the wealth and then participate in the economy. And that went until 2008. In 2008, I have chosen 2008. Why? Because after some study, And as you know, in 2008, there was an economic financial crisis worldwide. Qatar got impacted in the private part, but in the public sector, it did not harm. So in 2008, when we studied what made the private sector not to take its important role in the economy, we saw that the private sector was more concentrated in small sectors in the economy, for example, in construction, or the private sector was relying huge in just importing goods from outside and resell it in the economy, and that has stopped maybe the creativity part to insert in the economy what the economy really needs and to be developed locally. Also, we noticed that the government were offering competitive salaries for its citizens, to the extent that the potential entrepreneurs, before they start any business, they think whether to be employed with the government or to start business. And since the salaries are much higher and has higher return to run the private life of individuals, so they shift to the government sector. So we found out that the private sector, going from the entrepreneurs to the huge private sector, is not contributing a lot in the economy and did not take its role in participating in the initiatives of economic diversification. That's why came the vision of Qatar 2030, which is built on 4 pillars: the human development pillar, and the social pillar, the economic pillar, and the environmental. Let me focus on the economic pillar because it has 3 key words in the economic pillar. One key word is the entrepreneurship, the second is the private sector, and the third is the economic diversification. These 3 key words establish the important initiative to promote entrepreneurship and private sector in Qatar. And these initiatives based on mainly 3 parts. Again, the first part is that we need to train, to give consultation, to promote awareness in our young people about the importance of entrepreneurship. The second is related to having and creating incubation centers, designing centers, and innovation centers for our youngsters to come and after they filter their successful ideas, they go to that stage. And the third thing is the finance. Since we are, thanks God, a rich country, we have no problem in offering finance for our entrepreneurs. But it has to be designed, and it has to be institutional, so that when you bring the entrepreneurs into economy, they should have successful projects, not projects that fail. These initiatives went through many institutions, important institutions in Qatar, And one of it is the educational institutions, Qatar University, and especially College of Business and Economics, which I am the dean of it. So this came through also many steps and many initiatives. Again, we have inserted in our curriculum courses in entrepreneurship, which also get developed into a minor of entrepreneurship for our students. This is in the undergraduate level, and also in the graduate level, we have also designed a minor or a track in the entrepreneurship. The College of Business and Economics also established in 2013 Center of Entrepreneurship, and that center providing 3 main services: consultation, workshops and training, and researches, all related to the entrepreneurship. The good thing about this entrepreneurship that attracted many of our students in the university, and the slogan of the college itself is not only to graduate students with degrees, but to graduate students with projects or potential projects. And this center, maybe in 2017, get recognized by AACSB to have a spotlight, which is the best practice centers in delivering their services. If I go to another institution, the financial institution, because most of policies that are promoting entrepreneurship in Qatar should have the solid financial side and institutionalized. So Qatar Development Bank provides many creative packages for our students and our potential entrepreneurship. One of the very creative package is we call it Damin. Damin provides for the entrepreneurs 80% of the finance guaranteed by the government and guaranteed by Qatar Development Bank. So whenever they go to any bank, 80% of whatever they get of their money for their projects is guaranteed by the government. And we need to be careful that only the potential and good ideas got this finance. And also, Qatar Development Bank established 2 very important institutions. This is countrywide. One is the Incubation Center, and one is the Design Center. And also there is an institution just focusing on the creativity side, which is Qatar Science Park. So all creative ideas should go through this institution. So this has continued and promoted a lot of, or many of our entrepreneurs in Qatar, and with a good rate of increase. This continued until the blockade on Qatar, which was in June 2017. I would like to say that always problems create opportunities. And I can claim that after June 2017, entrepreneurship in Qatar got in a boom situation. Why is that? The government is focusing or creating 3 lines important lines of business in Qatar. One is the encouraging projects that and businesses that guarantee and provide self-sufficiency for Qatar. And as that when blockade happened in Qatar, we were importing maybe 80% of our products from blockading countries, but Qatar were very successful in promoting that line of business to the extent that we are today self-sufficient in the dairy products. And number two, the replacement of and substitutes of products that we were also importing. This is also one line of business, second line of business. And third line of business is to promote international investment in Qatar, either it's from the entrepreneurial part or the general business part. So at the end, if I conclude about the lessons that we can take from Qatar experience, is that entrepreneurship in Qatar is developing and booming, and we really think that entrepreneurship is one type of economic security, because if you don't have it, you cannot sustain and guarantee the level of economic activity in the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Qatar is going through a major transformation, and we look forward to hearing more about the entrepreneurial activities in Qatar. Thank you. The next